Your cat bit you today. Maybe hard enough to draw blood. Maybe just that sudden, sharp clamp out of nowhere, right in the middle of a good petting session. And you probably said the same thing everyone says. Why does my cat do that? The internet has an answer for you. Overstimulation, play aggression, fear response. Neat little labels that feel satisfying, until your cat does it again. Because here's what those labels don't explain. Why does it happen during calm moments? Why does a cat that shows every sign of love, slow blinks, head bumps, purring, suddenly bite the hand that feeds it? And more importantly, what if some of those bites aren't aggression at all? What if some of them are your cat trying to tell you something you've been misreading your entire life? We're going to go through 13 reasons your cat bites you. Some you've heard before. Some will completely change how you see your cat. But the one that gets most cat owners, the one that usually comes last on every list, is the reason that explains almost everything else. We're saving that one. Before we get into the list, understand this. Cats didn't evolve to live with us. They are solitary hunters who chose, partially, voluntarily, imperfectly, to tolerate human proximity in exchange for warmth and food. That relationship is about 10,000 years old. Your nervous system has had millions of years to develop social bonding. Theirs has had 10,000 to figure out what we even are. So when your cat bites you, you're not dealing with a pet misbehaving. You're dealing with a small apex predator doing the only thing it knows how to do when its internal signals overload. And some of those signals, they look exactly like affection. That's the part that makes this so confusing and so important to get right. Researchers at Oregon State University and the University of Lincoln have spent years studying feline communication, and what they keep finding is the same thing. Humans are chronically misreading their cats. Not occasionally, chronically. Which means the way you've been responding to bites, pulling away, scolding, ending the interaction, might actually be making the biting worse. We'll come back to that. Petting-induced overstimulation. And why the science doesn't say what you think it does. This one's on every list. Your cat loves being petted, loves it, then bites. The common explanation is that petting becomes overwhelming. True, but here's what most people miss. It's not random. A 2020 study published in the journal Applied Animal Behavior Science found that cats show a specific sequence of pre-bite signals: tail flicking, skin rippling, ear rotation toward the hand before they bite. Every time. The bite isn't impulsive. It's the last resort after an entire conversation you weren't listening to. A cat named Milo, a 9-year-old domestic shorthair whose owner had lived with him for 7 years, was brought into a feline behaviorist clinic specifically for unpredictable biting. In the first session, the behaviorist filmed Milo being petted. He showed 12 distinct signals before biting. His owner, watching the footage back, went quiet. "I had no idea he was asking me to stop," she said. "I thought he was asking me to keep going." Milo wasn't broken. He was fluent in a language nobody had bothered to learn. Redirected aggression. Your cat sees a bird outside, or another cat, or a squirrel, something it cannot reach. The arousal that floods its nervous system, the cortisol, the adrenaline, has nowhere to go. You walk past. You become the bird. The ASPCA classifies this as one of the most misunderstood bite types because it can happen up to an hour after the triggering event. Your cat saw something through a window at 2 p.m. You get bitten at 2:40 p.m. and have no idea why. This is not a broken cat. This is a cat whose nervous system needs more than 40 minutes to fully discharge. Play aggression in cats who weren't taught boundaries as kittens. Kittens learn bite inhibition from their littermates. When one bites too hard, the other yelps and stops playing. The feedback loop is immediate. Cats raised without littermates, especially those adopted before 8 weeks, never get that lesson. Shadow was adopted at 5 weeks by a well-meaning family who thought earlier was better. By the time he was 2 years old, he would bite hands, ankles, and feet with the full force of a hunting cat. because no one had ever told him that hurting you wasn't the point of the game. But here's where it gets strange, because the next reason on this list, reason 4, is almost the opposite problem, and it affects cats who were perfectly socialized. Love bites, and why science is still arguing about what they actually mean. You're sitting quietly. Your cat climbs onto you, purrs, kneads, slow blinks, and then bites you gently on the hand or wrist. Not hard, not aggressive, almost tender. This is what behaviorists call a love bite, or allogrooming behavior. Researchers at the University of Bristol found that cats who engage in mutual grooming with bonded companions will occasionally bite as part of the grooming sequence, mimicking the way they'd groom another cat's hard-to-reach areas. When they do this to you, they're treating you like a cat. That's not aggression. That's the highest compliment in their vocabulary. The problem is knowing when a love bite is about to become something sharper. And that distinction comes down to one body part most people never think to watch. We'll get there, fear response, even in cats who've never been abused. People assume fear biting only happens in cats with trauma histories. But fear can be triggered by anything that makes a cat feel cornered, including well-meaning restraint. The moment you wrap both arms around a cat and lift, you've removed every exit. From your perspective, you're hugging. From theirs, something has caught them and isn't letting go. Luna, a 3-year-old rescue who had never shown aggression in any other context, bit her new owner hard enough to require a tetanus shot, because the owner had scooped her up and held her facing outward in front of a window. Luna wasn't being aggressive. She was escaping, pain-induced biting. This one can save your cat's life. A study in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found that sudden-onset aggression in previously non-aggressive cats correlates significantly with undiagnosed medical conditions, particularly dental disease, arthritis, and hyperthyroidism. If your cat has recently started biting in a specific spot when touched, their lower back, their abdomen, their jaw, and they never did before, that is not a behavioral problem. That is a pain signal. Get them checked. Territorial marking through bite. Some cats bite the hands that pet unfamiliar surfaces. Your work bag, a grocery item, anything carrying outside scents. They're not biting you. They're biting the foreign smell on you. Attention-seeking bites. If your cat discovered that biting gets you to look up from your phone, that lesson is locked in. Intermittent reinforcement, the most powerful conditioning schedule in behavioral psychology, means even occasional attention after biting is enough to cement it permanently, maternal aggression. A queen with kittens will bite any perceived threat without warning, without escalation. If your cat recently had a litter, even a single kitten hidden somewhere you haven't found, the rules have changed. Rough housing learned from humans. Whoever plays with bare hands instead of toys is teaching the cat that hands are prey. This is the most preventable bite cause on this list. Toys exist. Use them. Sensory overload from sound, light, or vibration. A 2019 paper in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery documented a syndrome, now called feline audiogenic reflex seizure, where specific high-pitched sounds trigger a neurological event. Affected cats may bite during or immediately after hearing certain sounds. It's not behavioral, it's neurological, and it's been chronically underdiagnosed. And this is the part most people get completely wrong, because we've now reached reason 12. And reason 12 changes the way you should interpret almost everything I've said before. Displacement behavior. Science. In feline ethology, a displacement behavior is an action that appears out of context. Something the cat does when it can't resolve an internal conflict between two competing drives. Grooming when stressed. Yawning when alert. Biting when neither fight nor flight is accessible. Oregon State's Human-Animal Interaction Lab has documented this in cats placed in ambiguous social situations with humans they partially trust. The cat wants proximity but also wants distance, and the nervous system resolves the conflict with a bite that isn't really about aggression at all. This is why some cats bite only during moments of high affection. The closeness is real. The love is real. But the nervous system, built for solitude, doesn't know what to do with all of it. And so it bites. Not to hurt you. To manage something it was never designed to feel. And then there's reason 13. The one that reframes all 12 before it. Your cat bites you because it trusts you enough to. Stay with that for a second. A cat that bites a stranger is afraid. A cat that bites someone it doesn't trust is dangerous. But a cat that bites you, in the context of closeness, of warmth, of a relationship that has existed for months or years, is doing something that looks violent but is actually the opposite. Research from the University of Edinburgh's Royal School of Veterinary Studies found that cats in secure attachment relationships with their owners show higher rates of contact-related behaviors that humans interpret as aggression, including biting, precisely because they feel safe enough to express discomfort rather than simply flee. Your cat doesn't bite strangers in the middle of a petting session. It bites you. And the reason it bites you is the same reason it sleeps on your chest, follows you to the bathroom, and slow blinks at you from across the room. You are safe. You are known. You are the one creature in its environment it trusts enough to be honest with. The bite isn't rejection. It's communication. Raw, unfiltered, feline communication from an animal that has no other way to say, I need a moment. I'm at my limit. I love you, and I need you to stop. That's not less than what you thought it was. It's different. And now that you know the difference, now that you can read the tail flick, the skin ripple, the ear rotation, the conversation changes. Not because your cat changes, because you finally speak the language. Now, here's a question worth sitting with. If cats have this many ways of saying stop, how many ways do they have of saying keep going? Because it turns out the signals for deep feline contentment are just as specific, just as overlooked, and just as easy to miss. And one of them happens every single night while you're asleep.